With the kind of video work that I do, I get the chance to light a lot of interviews, shoot weddings and such, but I don't get a lot of opportunity to light a scene like a movie. I'm finding that lighting is one of the most important pieces of getting the movie look, and has less to do with what kind of camera you have and more to do with your skills. So to practice some lighting technique, I decided to try and create a simple shot using the equipment and resources that I already possessed. My goal was to have a shot that looked like a movie, but I didn't want it to feel like it was lit by a bunch of lights. Because for me, seeing a shot that looks like it was filmed in a studio makes the movie feel unnatural and fake. To get some inspiration, I scrolled through FrameSet until I found an image that got the wheels turning in my head and utilized the location that I had on hand, my garage. After that, I got to work the next day during some free time, because providing for my family comes first and I don't make a living off of YouTube. I went into the setup already having an idea of how I was going to light the shot. I intentionally wanted the window to be blown out a good bit, like in the photo, but it being a gray day, I wasn't completely sure there would be enough light coming in, but it turned out alright. Once I framed up the shot, I ended up adjusting my ISO to about 500. This was going to be the starting point for how I lit the rest of the shot. Only utilizing the light from the window was beginning to push me in the right direction, but my face is still not exposed enough and the shadows in the left corner are so deep that there's no definition. If this was an actual production, you would typically have a very powerful light outside the window punching light through as a constant light source. However, I don't have a super powerful light like that to use, and I knew I was going to need what I had inside. I first chose to bring in my main key light to help wrap around my face a little better, complementing and matching the light from the window at about 6500 Kelvin and angled down from the top of the window. I chose to set up my CB200B from Newer, which is a bicolor light that gives a pretty nice punch for the price and size. By the way, this video is not sponsored by Newer or any other brand that I mention. Because the window is a harsher light, I intentionally chose to use no diffusion on the CB200B, which goes against my normal MO. As a result, the light had to be turned down significantly to around 4% strength to not overwhelm the image. One issue I noticed right off the bat was the light being spilled on the right side of the window from the CB200B, which was causing unnatural looking shadows. These shadows would not make sense if the light was being motivated by the window, which is an important principle in lighting I've learned. Light should have a motivation, meaning there needs to be a logical explanation in our brains as to where that light is coming from. When there is no light motivation, the image can immediately feel fake. To solve the unwanted light spilling, I taped some cardboard to the side of the light to flag off the light spill, and that helped the light feel much more natural, as if it was coming from the window. After playing with the light intensity and positioning a bit, I kept the light intensity very low and positioned the light just out of frame. In the end, the CB200B added additional key light to my face and also allowed light to bounce off the table back into the other side of my face, acting as a fill light. This image already looks a little better than at first, but I wanted to take it further. The left side of the image is still way too dark for what I had envisioned. I knew I wanted a little more interest in that corner, and since there was no window on that side, I decided to add in a practical light. A practical light is one that is seen in the shot and is part of the environment that the character is in. I used a little garage lamp with a smart bulb and clamped it to one of the shelves, setting the color tone to a much warmer tone than that of the window to add some color contrast. This made the image feel much more interesting right off the bat, and it allowed us to not only see the shelves, but also gave us an additional color tone to look at. To help differentiate me from the background, I wanted there to be a rim light motivated by the practical lamp hitting the side of my body. I decided to use a simple, cheap light panel with an orange gel taped on it to provide that extra kick. Looking back, I probably would have diffused this light to make it softer, but I think it still looked fine. Now the image was much more like I had envisioned, with contrast between the bright window and the darker, warmer tones of the corner. The only thing left was to add some haze or fog. I knew fog was going to help give the light character, as well as blend the transitions between the highlights and the shadows. Normally, productions use what's called haze, which is thinner, but I used a simple fog machine, which, as you can tell, made a thick atmosphere that needed to be fanned out a bit to even it out. I also added a few tools in front of the window just to add a little bit more detail. So to recap, We started with just the window light with our ISO at about 500. We then added our CB200B to help the light wrap around my face and bounce back into the opposite side of my face, acting as our fill light. Next, we added our practical lamp to brighten up the shadows, add interest to that part of the frame, and give a warmer color tone to the image. From there, we added a rim light from our LED panel with the orange gel to help separate me from the wall. Last of all, we added the fog and the tools in front of the window. With that, we get the final image, and after applying the color correction, this is the result. So we can see what a drastic difference some cheap lighting can make when we compare the first image with the last. I used the Canon EOS RP as my camera, which is not a high-value cinema camera. It gets the job done for much of my work, but it is clear to me that a lower value camera can still capture a cool image when paired with intentional lighting. Is my image perfect? By no means. Even as I edit this video, I can think of different ways to make it a little bit better. However, it does prove to me once again that the camera is not the only key ingredient to getting a movie-like image. Often, it's the lighting that really makes the image shine. No pun intended. From this main shot we lit, it's then very easy to add in a few more angles, and you have a scene. So you skipped town?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, then where is it?
Really, you're as bad as the rest of them. It's in a box on the shelf by the window. You should try opening your eyes sometime.
That's what they all say.